Yes, we are going to compete to win. Thank you all. Senator Sudeline, thank you for those extremely kind words. Delegate McNamara, thank you for highlighting the fact that it costs a lot more to live today than it did just 2 years ago. And it's just an extraordinary moment for us to recognize that. Delegate Head, I want to thank you for always being a standard bearer on ethics and the fact that we have to lift our eyes up to the hills to know where we're going. Otherwise, we'll go the wrong place. And finally, John, I want to thank you and all of your associates here, not only for hosting us, but for building Virginia. And so thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. And then finally, I want to say thank you to all the men and women in this front row. You know, in Virginia, we back the blue. In Virginia, we stand for the heroes that stand for us. And there's a group of men and women sitting in this front row that stand for everybody in this room every single day. And I think if we do nothing else today, we should stop, everybody stand up, and give our law enforcement heroes a round of applause. So about a year ago, I had the great privilege to stand on the steps of our Capitol and swear to God to defend and protect our Constitution. And then I said, let's go to work. Virginia's open for business. And that was such an exciting day because we went to work. We went to work right away to make sure that Virginia was open for business and competing. And I have to say, we are competing. But folks, it is time to compete to win. We have got to jam down that accelerator, get our foot off the brake, and get going. Because the states to the south of us are competing every day, to win Virginians to move there, to win business decisions to locate there. And I'll tell you, Virginia was built to win. And we are going to compete to win. That is what our future looks like. 1 year ago, we introduced the Day One game plan. We focused on 5 key areas: cutting costs for families, keeping our communities safe, reinvigorating job growth, restoring excellence in education, and making government work for you and stop telling you what to do all the time. How about that, folks? You know, the fun part is we took this agenda to voters, and voters did an incredible thing that has blessed our family. They said, you're hired. And I want to thank all of you for that. Thank you for hiring us, because we go to work every day. We go to work every day with a sense of real honor and privilege to work for 8.7 million Virginians. Thank you. Thank you for letting us do this work. It is an extraordinary privilege. We took this agenda, and yes, many of the things that the delegates and the senator talked about, we put into motion. $4 billion in tax cuts. $4 billion in tax cuts. Regulatory streamlining. Backing the blue with historic salary increases, historic investment in training and equipment. And I think in a historic moment for us to reestablish the fact that the people who keep us safe every day put on a bulletproof vest and go to work. That is a big moment for us as a state. We're empowering parents, making sure that they don't just have a seat at the table, but sit at the head of the table. That's where they belong, at the head of the table. We couple that with raises for teachers because they deserve it, our lab school initiative, and tax-driven scholarships that provide choice within our public school systems. We've been investing in school construction in the most innovative ways with over $3 billion of funding now available to local school districts. And when we went to work, we found $1.2 billion of money that didn't need to be spent, and we put it right where it belongs in the Taxpayer Relief Fund. That's your money, not the government's. And it's time for us to give it back to you. It is. But the work has only just begun. We are still going to win even bigger. And we need to win even bigger. And that means tackling two of our most challenging and fundamental and intertwined problems: winning people and winning jobs. On winning people, Virginia has had more people move away from the Commonwealth than move to the Commonwealth from the other 49 states for 7 years running. 7 years running. And we're going to put a stop to that. And on winning jobs, the other states, particularly the ones to our south, recovered their jobs faster. They brought in more companies, and meanwhile, lockdown Virginia stalled. Well, we've been opening, we have closed the gap, but folks, we have got to get into an entirely different gear, and that's high. If we're going to become the best state to live, work, and raise a family, doing nothing is equivalent to shifting in reverse, because the states around us are competing to win. And if we don't step up, they will. And that's not in my DNA. So we're going to work. We're going to shift into high gear. We're going to accelerate. We're going to accelerate everything we do. We are going to do more. We are going to do it faster. That is the entire goal. Last year we made incredible progress, and we're going to build on it by taking Virginia to the next level. Over the last 12 months, we had some great wins. We attracted great companies. Lego and Boeing and Raytheon and Plenty, and these great companies now call Virginia home, bringing jobs, bringing opportunity. We saw great companies that are here expand. Well, like Carter. How about that? Great companies here expand. Thermo Fisher, Hilton, Coronado Global Resources. I went down in a mine and did a ribbon cutting. I think I'm the first governor to ever do that. Rocket Labs expanded on Wallops Island. AeroFarm expanded their operations. Drone Up is one of the fastest growing companies in Virginia. And recently, Hollingsworth and Vos, right over the county line in Floyd, decided that they were going to invest $40 million to expand their advanced manufacturing operations. All these companies are not only keeping their home in Virginia, but they are building a new and bigger one. That is exciting. And all of this led to a first time in history moment. The preeminent magazine that helps businesses pick where to go, called Site Selection Magazine, recognized Virginia as the most attractive place to locate and grow a business. Now that was nice. I like accolades. But the reality is it's performance that matters, not rankings. I want to be ranked high, but I want us to win. And that is where we have to go to work. Because at the end of the day, winning is relative. There's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And I want Virginia to be on the winning side every single time. And we compete against the best every day. North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Texas. That's who we're competing against every single day. And they are among the fastest growing states in America. Fastest growing population, fastest growing jobs, and that is where we find ourselves in that arena every day. And that means that we are no longer in the JV, we are at the varsity. We're not playing AAA ball, we're in the major leagues. We have got to go play to win. That means we have to compete consistently at a level that Virginia historically has not. And that means to get there, we got to put our foot on the accelerator and get moving now. See, while we're consistently ranked high, we're still losing out on those big transformational projects, those big projects that are going to North Carolina and Tennessee and Georgia and South Carolina and Florida and Texas. The big ones. Those are the ones that bring thousands of jobs. Those are the ones that bring ecosystems, that build all kinds of supply chains around them. Those are the ones we've got to go win. And in fact, when we look at actual employment growth from 2010 to 2019, Virginia ranked 25th, while Texas ranked 6th, North Carolina 14th, Georgia 12th, Tennessee 13th, South Carolina 11th. And they've only accelerated from there. And we have slowed down. And if we look forward over the next 10 years, unless we accelerate, the employment growth leaders will leave us further behind. In the most recent fiscal year, 2022, that ended in June, there were 7,000 economic development projects announced across the country, representing over 600,000 jobs and $400 billion in capital investment. That's a lot. Virginia's share of that was 3.4%. North Carolina was nearly double that at 6.4%. Texas, 8.8%. Georgia, 6.7%. Tennessee, 4.7%. Once again, if we want to get to the next level, we got to get moving. Because I want to beat Texas. I want to beat Georgia. I want to beat Florida. I want to beat South Carolina and Tennessee. And God knows I want to beat North Carolina. Now, competing to win with people in jobs starts with taxes. It starts with both corporate and individual taxes. Why are North Carolina and these other states winning? Because those states are already and continuing to bring down their taxes. And therefore, people have confidence looking forward that it's only going to get better, not worse. And while I signed the $4 billion of tax cuts in June that the men and women in our General Assembly worked so hard to deliver, we have to do even more. See, otherwise we'll find ourselves relegated to competing with the higher tax and higher cost states, not with the ones that are winning the disproportionate amount of the opportunities. So in addition to putting us on a path to a more competitive tax structure, we also have to stop talking about the other things that need to be done and start doing all of them now. Training a workforce that businesses will hire, doubling down on sites that are ready to be built upon, streamlining burdensome regulations, providing affordable and reliable energy, and building attainable and accessible housing that Virginians can afford. This is not a complicated collection of aspirations, because we're going to go get them done. And that is what 2023 is all about. We are acutely focused on workforce development and efforts to train and attract new talent. We're restructuring the way government delivers workforce by consolidating workforce under one roof. You see, I'm kind of new to government, and occasionally I have expectations of what I was going to find. And I thought I would find something that was disparate and inefficient, and maybe with no accountability. And when I looked at workforce, that's what I found. It's spread out across 6 different cabinet secretaries, 12 state agencies, 25 workforce programs, 113 workforce providers, 250 training programs with over 1,500 different training programs spending $485 million of federal and state money. That's what workforce looks like today in Virginia. Spread all over the place, no accountability, and no way to judge whether it's doing a good job or not. Well, we're going to bring it all together, and we are going to measure outcomes. Measure outcomes not by the number of people who get trained, but by the number of people who get jobs. That's what it's all about. And now we can't focus on workforce without focusing on education. And that all starts with getting our students prepared to succeed, not just in the classroom, but beyond. I know we all want every student, regardless of background and zip code, to graduate high school ready for what comes next. And with a side note, with their parents deeply engaged with the entire journey. That's what we all want. But every student doesn't have to have the same path. There is not one size fits all. And in fact, Every student should have the opportunity in Virginia to graduate with an industry-recognized credential so they can go to work right away if they choose to do so. That's what we should deliver for our children. I know this is a possibility. See, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky aspiration because I've seen it in action. A few months ago, I had an opportunity to visit Southern Virginia Community College and meet a few of their dual enrollment students. These students aren't just reading about HVAC repairs or welding safety. They are actually fixing the wiring in AC units and putting on their welding gloves, which I did too. They will graduate with an opportunity to jump right into an in-demand, high-wage, rewarding career. My upcoming budget will prioritize expanding these career pathways for students by launching multiple dual enrollment accelerator projects in partnership with our community colleges, local schools, and businesses to make sure that those students that graduate with a credential can go to work right away. And ultimately, my goal is that every Virginia high school graduate will graduate with an industry-recognized credential so that they can go work as a nursing assistant, they can go work as a cyber technician, they can go work as a welder, they can work on a wire line, they can go work immediately. Or if they choose, they can go to college as well. But we want to provide every child in Virginia with that opportunity and that flexibility. And you see, when we have a great workforce, which we have, we just need more of you, then businesses come in droves because that supports their growth. And to support the recruitment and expansion of high-growth industries, the Commonwealth requires massive investments to create shovel-ready sites. See, despite the fact that we have the best location in the nation, geographically, mid-Atlantic location with an extraordinary talent pool. We have the best port on the East Coast. We have great transportation, although we're investing a ton in I-81. It's coming this year. Get ready. You're going to see lanes expanded, and you're going to see a ton of work. God, it's needed. I know that. And Virginia is ranked high on all education fronts. But we're often not selected in those transformational projects because we do not have shovel-ready mega sites. Simply put, we just don't have them, and we need them because the other states have them. And there's a big difference between starting a project where they say, I can get construction started in 12 months versus 36. They want to go 12 months, not 36. So we got to get moving. See, since 2016, a lack of project-ready sites has cost Virginia more than 55,000 jobs. 55,000 jobs and $124 billion in capital investment. Those are extraordinary numbers, and they never get talked about because it's things we could have but don't have. We're talking about them because I want it going forward. I'm fully committed to expanding the expansion of Virginia's companies and bringing more companies to Virginia. And to do that, we have to provide a place for these companies to go. And so in June, the budget that we signed over the summer, it included $150 million for preparing business-ready sites. Sites that would be ready for those companies to make those decisions. And that was many orders of magnitude more than had ever been invested in business-ready sites. It's not even close to being enough. That's the reality. And so that's why I've proposed to put in an additional $450 million in our amendments that these guys will take up next week so that Virginia can compete. I want Made in America to mean Made in Virginia. That's what we want. We're done playing small ball. We are going to compete to win. It's also why I propose in the General Assembly that we address one of the top issues that any business or individual has to deal with when coming to Virginia or deciding to stay: taxes. To compete to win, Residents, new businesses, those companies making business expansion, they look at our tax base and they want to know, are you competitive with the alternatives? And I remind everybody in government every day that it's your choice, not ours where you live. It's your choice, not ours where you domicile your business. And we have to win that choice every day. Texas, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, they get it. And we're about to get it. That's why I'm proposing a meaningful first step. And believe me, it is only a first step to stop the outflow of residents and to recruit new businesses. We're going to build on top of our $4 billion of tax cuts an additional $1 billion in tax cuts. And we're going to take a strong two-prong approach. First, we're going to, again, tackle the burden on working families, and we're also going to reduce taxes on businesses. For our working families, we must help all of you. We must help all of you combat the Biden-driven inflation crisis, and we see it every day. Costs have gone up. There is no confusion about that. And as I have said over and over again, we are running surpluses in Richmond. It is your money. You deserve to keep it in your pocket so that you can combat this inflation. And we're going to join states like Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and we're going to cut not just the amount of money you pay because of the standard deduction increase that the delegates and the senator talked about, because we're going to finish that job. We're going to cut rates as well. And we must get on this path. We can't fool ourselves. At the end of the day, the states around us that have lower rates are attracting more people. It's that simple. This will be a headline read far and wide, and a signal to all families and all individuals that we understand that it's your money, and we are going to continue to put ourselves on a path to make sure you keep more of it. And for those that already call Virginia home, a family of 4 over this 2-year period will save nearly $2,000. That's real money. That is real money. And with that will come better jobs. But we also have to make sure that companies know that we know that some of the money is theirs too. And by cutting taxes, by cutting the rates for companies, they can reinvest that money. They can reinvest that money in expansion, in more jobs, and they all of a sudden recognize that their longtime home of Virginia is where they're going to be. They're going to be forever. Folks, this is about long-term vision, not short-term vision. And with that, just through this 2-year budget, we can re-inject nearly $600 million back in the Virginia economy with expansions by businesses, job growth, more suppliers, and we can give that extra kickstart to Virginia's economy. And we can't forget our small businesses, as Delegate McNamara said, from the auto mechanic, yes, to the ice cream parlor. These businesses who stood up in the depth of the pandemic when they were forced to close, are fighting to get back to where they were prior to the pandemic. They've suffered the most. And so we will have a first of its kind state-level deduction to give those who were able to weather the pandemic the ability to accelerate as well. I want our small businesses to not just have the sign that they hung open. I want them to buy a new one. This is the future of small business in Virginia. We must cut taxes. We must increase talent. We must build shovel-ready mega sites. We must streamline regulations. We must chart a path for the all-American, all-of-the-above energy plan to make sure that we have reliable and we have affordable power in Virginia. We have to support world-class education, foster attainable and accessible housing, and make government even more efficient and more effective. That is Virginia's future. Folks, we can do it. We have proven we can do it, and it is time that we hit the accelerator and get to the next level. Our partnership collectively between our bosses, all of you, your elected servants who go work on your behalf, our businesses, and all the people they employ. This is a partnership. Together, we can make Virginia the best place to live, work, and raise a family. Friends, it's time to go to work. It's time to get it done, and it's time to deliver more results for Virginians. God bless you, and God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. Let's go to work.